All right, before we get to the commercial break or whatever the case it may be, I want to take the time to at least get on here and say the amount of emotional and mental health is quickly rising, and we should be alarmed by this. In 2025, we have roughly about 529,000 suicides reported in the United States alone, of just men alone in 2025. Something's got to change. Something's got to change within our mental health system and with what's going on here in this country. Whether it's economical issues, relationship issues, money-wise issues, whatever the case it may be, something needs to change. And I'm only saying this because this story, this company, this city, and this county that I work in, not only just for the county, but it's for the company themselves. And I'm only saying this because I was doing a report at the CVM. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Hanford, CVM is the Central Valley Meats. They are a meat processing facility. And I'm recently learning now that 2 days ago, sometime around 5 in the morning, maybe 6 in the morning, and I want to warn you, this is a little bit graphic, but we were informed that the guy was getting pushed to the limits so harshly bad that the mental health got to him and he slit his throat and died in front of many workers that were working at that facility. And let it be known, the company just decided, oh, nothing happened. We're just going to continue on working once his body gets picked up. Now, if I was the boss in the whole company itself, that meat processing facility would get shut down for the night and then come back later. Sure enough, it's hard to process when you see somebody that kills himself, and it's traumatizing. It is super traumatizing. And then you got HR that don't give a fuck about anybody, for one. And I just think it's tragic. This is a young man that we are talking about who sadly got pushed to the limits by such a sadless, sadistic company who just bossed him around and pressured him to the limits. Sure, every job is super stressful or super annoying or boring or, like I said before, stressful. It's stressful. I don't have any experience in the meat processing facility whatsoever. But there is numerous reports that everybody's getting the word out that somebody just lost their lives by whatever issues that he's going through. Now, I'm not up for speculation, so I'm not even going to speculate with what he was going through. But my heart aches. My heart hurts for this guy. My heart hurts for this young individual. Mental health is real, you guys. And I don't care what time it is or what day it is or what year it is, what city we live in or who has my number. I'm one call away. And it's terrible. It's so terrible that young individuals who are out trying to make a living and put food on the table or them starting a young family and just it's a lot. It's a lot to process. And I think when it comes to that certain extent, when you're working at such a toxic job and a bullshit company, it doesn't hurt to take time off. But if they're not willing to give you that time off, I just don't have the answer for that. Other than to say to look for another job. But here in this economy, here in this city, it's hard. It's really hard. I don't mean to, bash on the young man. It sounded like he was a very nice young man who has responsibilities, for himself, and he took care of that. And that's great. That's awesome. But what they did to him with that business was so wrong. It was so wrong. And shame on Central Valley Meat, for allowing such things to continue in operation, knowing that somebody has lost their life. And workers witnessed that. And if I would have seen that, because I have depression and anxiety and suicidal tendencies, with my mental health, and, I have to seek therapy for that. If I seen that, that's terrible. And I can't imagine seeing stuff like that in person. It's just, it's unreal. It's not fair. And to even conclude to this, Central Valley should be really ashamed of themselves, knowing that they pushed this guy to the limit. He couldn't handle it no more. Kills himself. Central Valley thought, oh, well, nothing happened. We're just going to continue on working. And that is such a childish move that company could ever do. And, my thoughts and prayers are with this young man and the families that are involved and friends that are affected by his loss and cousins by his loss. It's so heartbreaking to hear, knowing that your best friend, your brother, or your uncle is gone. That's terrible. So I'm just going to conclude this by saying my thoughts and prayers are to the family, his friends, his cousins, his relatives. But I am an open ear. I am here to listen. I'm non-judgmental. And mental health matters. If you guys really need the help, please, you should text or dial 988, call emergency services, let them know what's going on, and they'll take you. And I know I left out one thing, but our mental health system is so bad that they don't even have any solutions on what to do. Hell, especially even the new building that they built by the government center. Something needs to change. And I'm just going to conclude that there. That does it for tonight. I'll see you at 11:30 in the next 2 weeks on this show. Good night.